And here he is. Enow, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, sir. It's really cold in Texas, so it's starting to show some shades in Michigan, but not quite. But I'm doing pretty good, man. I just signed, so I'm really excited, to get up there and start working. So I couldn't be better, sir. I'm really blessed right now.
Yeah, congratulations on that. I was talking with some family that lives down in Arkansas, and she was saying, "Oh, it's getting cold down there," and I was thinking she was going to say 40 degrees or something, but no, like near freezing. Is it getting that cold down there in Texas too? Like towards zero?
Yeah, it's getting like that. I don't know the exact. Let me see. I don't know the exact temperature, but it's something I don't think we've seen in a while. I don't like how it's getting like this. I mean, it's 15 degrees right now, actually. Yeah, so it's 15. I was hoping I wouldn't see anything like that until I got up there, but it is what it is.
Yeah, well, tell me about that. That's a certain aspect. Michigan, to me, I look at Michigan and I see like they have everything, from the athletics to the academics, the stadium. But, there is the one thing. It does get cold. And, and there's a lot of guys, you think about it gets you ready for the pros because, you don't know. You could get drafted by the Green Bay Packers or something like that. So, I mean, what kind of consideration was that when you were thinking about Michigan? And that sometimes it can get a little bit chilly.
I didn't really take much into my decision. I think it's part of the grind, to go somewhere cold and get used to it. That's just part of putting the work in, like you're not always going to be in the, perfect scenario, like you're always going to have to adjust. And I think, like I said, that's just part of the grind. So I'm prepared to definitely work through that. I grew up in Florida and Georgia. So I've been in the South and then on top of living in Africa. So, there's not really a lot of cold. But I just think that that's something I can get used to, because like you said, I mean, if I'm blessed enough to, make it to the highest level, if I go to the Buffalo Bills, man, or something like that, there's no complaining. So that's just something I welcome. And, that's just something I'm willing to get used to.
Well, tell me about your trip. In your life, you're not the oldest guy here. Getting ready to come to Michigan next year. You mentioned Africa, Florida, Georgia, Texas, and how long did you spend in those places? Give me a word about those places. What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, I was born in Seattle, and then I had spent a year or two there, and then we had actually gone back to Africa, southwestern Africa, in a country called Cameroon. So we were there for a few years, and then I moved back to the United States for kindergarten. And then so I spent my elementary school years in Georgia, and then I spent my middle school years in Florida, and then my high school years up to now I've been in Texas. We've been moving a lot for my dad's job. So I've never really been solid in one place for a long period of time.
Well, I know Cameroon for soccer or football. Did you watch the World Cup? I mean, do you like soccer?
Yeah, my dad was watching it. I'm not really the biggest fan. I used to play, but I kind of fell out of it. I was really playing for my dad, not really myself. So once I realized that, I was like, this isn't really for me. But I kind of watched a bit of the Cameroon team, man, and well, I don't know, man. I mean, we need to start winning. I mean, we did pretty good from what I heard, but we need to start winning. I'm not really gonna give them much until I start seeing them winning on the big stage because I don't think they made it too far. I don't think. I think someone beat Brazil. I don't know if it was them, but yeah, I don't pay too much attention to soccer.
Yeah, I don't either. I know people really like it, and so that's good if they like it and everything else. I like football, and it's great, talk with a football player like you and one that's not only committed but signed with Michigan. Was it a bigger day when you committed? What was that back in July, or when Wednesday when it was National Signing Day when actually it was official? Were they both similar? Was one better? How did that work for you?
I think they were pretty similar, but I think it was better yesterday when I signed because the commitment, even though, I mean, I'm serious. I mean, I can't speak for everybody because, you see all the flips going on, but I'm serious about my commitment, so, but also, when I signed, I realized like this is my future, like this is what I'm going to be doing. So I think it was more important when I signed. Yeah, for sure. because that really kind of put it set in stone. Like, this is what I'm going to be doing for the next 2 years.
I find you pretty fascinating, all the different places that you've been. And I was just looking, Jim Harbaugh was talking about you being, bright and smart and a good football player. And he said you wanted to be an engineer. And then he mentioned that, you build computers and not just like building, like you get the parts and you put them together. And that is something, I had to ask you about that. But tell me a little bit about putting together computers. What's that like?
I mean, it's not as hard as people think. I mean, I don't want to sound like a greedy guy, but it's a pretty profitable business. I mean, I just built one for my brother. Obviously, I gave it to him for free, but I'll build them for people, man. And where the money's really at the how do I say it? The building fee. Like I'll buy all the parts like for a $700 computer, and then I'll charge people, like 900. I got to make that profit somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's where the money's at, man. And so, I haven't been doing it as frequently. The prices are pretty bad with specific parts. So I don't try to. I've kind of stayed out of that, but I definitely know how to do it, and that's something I think is really cool to do. But yeah, it's not as hard as a lot of people think. Like my first one, I learned how to do it in like an hour and a half, maybe tops. And
so. Enow, I think you're being modest, man. And maybe for the younger generation, you guys, you throw you a bunch of, chips and wires. The next thing you know, you're building, a robot or something like that. You get a little bit older, we have a hard time, signing out of the computer and everything else. But, I'll tell you what has impressed me. I was just looking through and reading a couple stories about you. A 4.2 GPA. You've just played football for a couple of years, and yet I was looking nearly 50 sacks. Let me take two of those things. First of all, a 4.2 GPA. So you're a serious football player, but you're serious about studying as well.
Yes, sir. I come from a very traditional family. So my parents, especially my dad, have always been hard on me. When it comes to academics, like my dad wasn't seeing eye to eye with the recruiting process at first, because when I got the Stanford offer, he's like, why aren't you committed already? Like you already know where you should go. And I was like, hey, I mean, I got to weigh out my options. But, I mean, my dad always teaches me not to put all my eggs in one basket. So when I told him, I got my first offer, the first thing he told me, wasn't even congratulations. And he was like, so now that you're a big time football player, you're going to let your grades drop. And I was like, yeah, no, sir. He's very serious about academics, and he knows that football, only like 1% make it to the highest level. So, that should be my plan B. That's what he always tells me. And my plan A should be to get my degree. So that's exactly what I'm planning to do, So, yeah.
It sounds like a great plan. I got just a couple more questions here for Enow Etta, Michigan. Now, signee on Wednesday, a national signing day. Are you going to come up for spring? I ever see some of your fellow classmates are already enrolled in class. Are you planning on being in for spring, or are you coming in August? Do you know what your table is right now?
I go to a private school, so my school's not allowing me to actually enroll early, which really sucks. But it is what it is. So it's not like I'm going to be sitting around doing nothing. I'm still going to be working my butt off, until I get up there. But, as soon as the day I can get up there, I'm going to be up there. So, I'm probably going to have to come in the summer. Like I said, it sucks, but there's nothing I can do about it. So, yeah.
What's up? Like around here, I could tell you that people are buzzing about New Year's Eve and Michigan being in the college football semifinal, taking on TCU. You're pretty close down there to Texas Christian University. Yeah. Is there a lot of buzz there from the Horned Frogs? What's going on?
Yeah, man. My school is kind of a, Texas A&M pipeline. A lot of kids go to Texas A&M, but they also go to TCU. A lot of people's parents go to TCU, man. So I'm always hearing it from them about who's better. And, especially now that they're playing, it's kind of sad, man, because I'm seeing, all these people get their hopes up thinking they're going to beat Michigan. And I feel bad for them, quite frankly, because I mean, I really like the guys at TCU. I don't think what they expect to happen is really going to happen, and I think it's going to be a rude awakening, when they figure that out. But
Tell
yeah,
me. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I like your breakdown of the game. I think the Big 12, the Big 10. Uh, I think that they haven't seen a defense like Michigan. I'm not sure they've seen the balance either.
yeah.
48 and a half sacks. I mean, what's your favorite part of playing football? Is it getting to the quarterback and getting him on the ground?
Yeah, I would definitely say that. Really, anytime I can make a big play, because it's not necessarily for me. There's a lot of guys, especially in high school, and I know there will be in college. There's a lot of guys that care and depend especially on me to do my job. So just knowing I can do my part to to help my team, and that's what really brings the joy. Because uh, you know how do I say this? Like it was tough moving to my school for high school, and I owe the coaches a lot, because they believed in me. I had never played football before. um you know they told me they could make me into something great, and I believed them. I gave up my basketball dream to play football, and it took me way farther, so I'm forever in their debt. So I just give them everything I have on the field, and that's going to carry over to Michigan as well. The Michigan coaches gave me a great opportunity to solidify my future. So I'm going to give them, you guys, the fans, everything I have, because I didn't have to be in this position. There's a lot of DNs in the country, but they chose me. So I'm really blessed, and I feel like it would be a disservice if I didn't give 110%, every play.
I feel like that you can be your best version of yourself out on the football field for Michigan over the next couple of years. You will be Enow Etta, the maize and blue. But let me ask you about some of the defensive ends. Michigan has had quite a run over the last few years, and they got Mike Morris right now on the team. Last year the number 2 pick from the Detroit Lions, Aiden Hutchinson, Quiddy Pay before that went in the first round to the Colts. Ajabo went last year. He would have been a first rounder to the Ravens. Rashawn Gary. I mentioned the Green Bay Packers a little bit earlier. I know he's out for the year, but he was the number 1 player in the country when he went to Michigan. When you hear all those names, do you like all of those guys? Is there 1 or 2 of them that you say, hey, those guys were my favorite? That's who I would like to play like. What do you think?
I would definitely like to play like Aiden and David, because even before I was committed to Michigan, I used to watch their highlights all the time, because I like to watch players' highlights to pick up what I can learn. And those are 2 guys I felt like I could learn a lot from. So seeing Michigan's track record of putting guys in the NFL, it really helped me make my decision, because there's not a lot of schools that can really claim to be DLU. You got your Georgias and Alabamas and whatever, but I feel like Michigan has really got something going, and it's not just their D line, their whole defense, their whole offense. Like you say, it's a really balanced team, and just the culture over there, man. I think they're building something great, and I really like them because, like I said, a few days ago, we don't really. I mean, even in our recruiting class, man, like I know a lot of the fans were kind of disappointed because with all the success Michigan got, we didn't get a lot of 5 stars in this class. What people were expecting. But with Michigan's developmental program, like I think the only 5-star out of those guys you mentioned was Rashawn Gary. But all those guys still got developed and went to the league. So I think that's something a lot of people overlook when it comes to Michigan. So yeah.
Great point. I got 2 quick hitters for you. You can take as long as you want for them. When you as a defensive end, are you somebody? Does it matter if you have your hand on the ground or standing up? Does that matter to you? What did Mike Elston or Jim Harbaugh or Steve Klinksdale or Jesse Minter say to you about that?
Well, I had talked to Coach Elston, and he I mean, in high school, even though I'm a bigger guy, I'm probably not even going to play it at the weight I am. I'm probably going to be way lighter in college. So this year I tried to, my senior year, I came off 2 feet, but on all fours, hand in the dirt is definitely I can do both. So it doesn't matter to me. On pass rush downs, I'll probably be in a Y5, in a 2-foot stance. But on rundowns, I think it's cool. I think it's good to be in the dirt, so it doesn't really matter to me, but whatever the coaches want me to do, I'm going to do. So yeah, whatever I'm needed to do, I'll do. So
I love the attitude. What are the measurables? 6'5"? What do you want to play at? 250? What?
yeah, I would honestly when I talked to Coach Herb, he told me I'm going to be, my whole career probably 260 to 270 range, nothing higher than that. So, that's really what I was. That's really what I was. Right now I'm in the 270, so I'm probably not even going to be playing at this weight because even then I like using my speed. So, being my lightest is something I definitely, would like to play at because, speed, I feel like speed is where it's at, because I can bring the power, with the long arm, but not a lot of guys can really have that speed to run around the tackle. And that's something I feel like I'm good at. So, yeah, some people debate about the 6'5". I don't know. Technically I'm 6'4.5", but on Twitter I'm 6'5", so that's all you need to know. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Hey, you might still be growing. You don't know. You might be 6'6" by the time you come up, and who knows when Ben Herbert, the strength coach that you mentioned. All right, final thing for you. I'm looking at your outlay there in the background, and it kind of looks like you have I don't know, is that like a purple tint in the room? That kind of vibe
Yeah.
you got going
Yeah.
on? What are you trying to get? Tell everybody here with what you got going on.
Yeah, purple's my favorite color. So usually I always have my room purple. So yeah, they're like LEDs you can buy. I picked them up at Target. So I think it's cool. I think it's cool, from the conventional, just regular light bulb. Because you can set it to whatever color you want. So yeah, I got some for me and my brother. He loves them. I think it's pretty cool, because you can set your own vibe to whatever you're feeling. So yeah, I'm gonna take mine to my dorms too. I think that would be even cooler, to have them up in Michigan. So
I am feeling it. The only thing I would say is on New Year's Eve, maybe just turn the purple off and just turn the lights on for one day.
Yeah,
That's
maybe,
it.
yeah.
Then go back to the purple. Hey,
Yeah.
Enow, really appreciate it. I enjoyed talking with you. I can't wait to see you, just like everyone else watching, listening in the Maize and Blue review. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, have a great weekend, and stay warm down there in Texas.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. I think it's really cool to, interact with you guys. This is really fun to me. So, thank you guys for having me, and I'll hopefully talk to you again soon.
All right, take care, Enow.